Now, let's go to, is it EOCO or to EC? Let's hear the Deputy EC boss, Georgina Amankwa.
I said, I'm not moving an inch. So if they can carry me from my seat and throw me out there, then they lock it. So that is why. No. They've not used any force. I was saying that maybe if they want to use force, I mean, I'm a woman, I can't fight men. But for me to just walk out like I'm going out and then you lock it, no, I'm not going to do that.
They wanted to lock your office?
Well, for them, they are just saying that the investigations are not over. And until the Attorney General gives advice. Yes, that's what they are saying. And then what? I'm not defying any such thing. What I'm saying is that in law, the principle of law, if a matter is before a circuit court and a superior court sees, it sees with that same matter, automatically the one in the lower court lies flat. Yes, so now if I'm in office, what am I impeding? Because they've already taken all the documents, blah, 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 and done all the investigations and had sent their report to the AG. So what am I here to do by way of impeding investigation?
If you come back tomorrow and then your office is under lock,
I'll break into it. I will break into it if that happens.
You are destroying public property?
I'm not destroying public property. What is it about? What is it about it? Now the Chief Justice Committee, a whole Chief Justice Committee chaired by a Supreme Court judge, it says with the matter. So what is EOCO?
Sami, what is EOCO? Yet EOCO got her to be on leave or interdiction, is it, for 6 months, and she got to a point where she felt it's been too long. I can't be waiting forever, particularly at a point where there is an Article 146 probe going on by the Chief Justice's Committee. What do you say about what transpired? The security officers who went there to try to force her out of her office.
Well, she said she wasn't. They didn't try to force her. What happened was a verbal intercourse.
Okay.
No physical confrontation.
So let's go.
Something. This whole spectacle is just embarrassing. I mean, 25 years. We are celebrating 25 years of the Fourth Republic. We don't need this. We don't need it. I mean, EOCO storming the EC office, the standoff, and the whole day for more than 5 hours. They were waiting, and I saw. We've all seen the footage. The EOCO boss himself was there, waiting at the door, that they want to forcefully remove the deputy EC chair from her office. I mean, is that how we work in a modern era? What happened to a notice to her? Even if you think that the 6 months interdiction, you still need more time to do some work. What happened to a more civilized and decorous approach?
She had not been asked to go and come back in 6 months, or she had been asked to go because they are investigating.
Yeah, but according to her, that was the understanding she had. Now, if you have heard that she's returned to her office, really, what is the deputy EC's chair's return to the office? How does that impede the ongoing investigation anyway? If for 6 months you haven't removed all of what you need, all the evidence you need to do your investigation, what again?
They had actually finished and submitted their report to the Attorney General.
Yeah, so that whole standoff, what was it about? And you see, this is a time that Ghana is, scoring a lot of marks for, 7 successive elections, very successful, very peaceful. We've had 3 transitions, and the president said it. All these world leaders who are coming, the president was right to say that, look, the credit belongs to all of us, our commitment to the democratic process. We don't need scenes like this. We don't need it. EOCO can be more professional. This was just, lack of finesse, lack of professionalism, and you can't defend it. You know that Article 46 is very clear. The Electoral Commission is independent. It must be independent. I mean, this is not how you go about. Even if you have concerns about the deputy chair returning to her office, this is not how you do it. It's not how you do it. You can write to her. You can even invite her to your office. You invite her to your office, give her a date, give her an appointment to come to your office and explain to her why she should still stay at home. I mean, there are very decorous ways, very civilized ways of going about these things. You know, this show of force and, just violating rights of people.
Eventually, she, together with her lawyers, had an agreement with EOCO that from that day, 14 days, they would have concluded on everything, and then she may have the liberty to come back to her office. So we should end it there, shouldn't we? Because there's been a resolution.
How do we end it there, Samson? We're all raising questions as to why EOCO should take this step, And for me, this whole thing, it's quite interesting with the way it's playing out. Electoral Commission, not just Georgina Opoku, right? Opoku Amankwa,
yeah.
Not just Georgina Opoku Amankwa. And then it's quite refreshing that I have not come across any correspondence coming from Sami and his team, because you've had them rising up when issues of people, Ghanaians, writing petitions about the conduct of the chairperson. They coming up to issue statements, and in some instances even issuing threats and fingers pointed to President.
Maybe you haven't listened. They have been very vociferous about this.
And we put out a statement. The minority leader. The minority leader issued a statement.
Okay, I think that this is a condemnable act which, we shouldn't see happening. When we started with GBC, Kweku alluded to the fact that we shouldn't have this type of a situation where we go about doing things in a manner as if we're in a jungle. We're in a law-established environment, and I can't understand what exactly the situation is. Look, given what's going on with the Electoral Commission, there is no doubt that the image of the Electoral Commission is dented. As for the issues that are played out, I don't have what it takes to point fingers at who has done what. But the issues that have come up over the period tells that all is not well with the Electoral Commission, and I believe quite a number of the Ghanaian public, side with me in this direction. But to see these things happen in 21st century Ghana, I think that we need to draw these things back. It is not proper, and I will not take it kindly if I have even done anything untoward, and I find security agents come to my office and then treat me the way they treated this woman. So this one, it is not about who wants to say I believe or see to. It is just
no. But how did they treat her? It's about the numbers of persons and the manner in which they went there, because they didn't manhandle her.
To start with, you put this question. I know with where you said that's how you always look at it, but with your profession, I mean, where does EOCO come into play with this? From the 6 months they asked her to move, is it their mandate? Have they got the right to do that?
They kept her on her chair all these hours.
Because she said when she abided by that directive the first time, it was because she didn't know. I mean, this is from what she said to us as listeners. And then when she spoke to her lawyers, they quoted certain relevant portions of the right that keeps her there. And she had no business, abiding to that directive that she should leave the place for the 6 months. Right. So these things that have come up, I think that we need to look at it as a country.
Yeah, briefly.
It's an example of how state institutions can act in a way that's embarrassing, and sometimes you can even be blaming governments when they are not, complicit. The rule of law is not the same as a rule of law enforcers. And for me, that's very important. The rule of law is not the same as a rule of law enforcers. Many times in this country, and I'm a champion for the police, sometimes they make the same mistake. They think that because they are enforcers of the law, they rule. This is the attitude EOCO is taking. They are so wrong, and they actually put themselves at risk of being sued. They must know that they don't have the power to act with impunity and outside the law simply because they are EOCO. And we should be careful how our security systems generally deploy themselves. Okay, I mean, I have heard all kinds of things of national security being found in all kinds of places, doing all kinds of things, and you wonder what's going on. Okay, and there are rules for doing whatever you need to do. Look, the madam there has not been found guilty. She's entitled to due process. She happens to be a bold person who has taken a step to expose the failing of the system. maybe at some risk to herself. Okay? And honestly, I applaud her for it. Because some of these things keep going on and people suffer silently.
But I have asked the question, what was her business? If it is EOCO that asked her to leave that place, what was her business obeying EOCO? Because EOCO doesn't have that right to come into her offices and ask her to go on interdiction until they are done with investigations. It doesn't have that power to extend its jurisdiction into her office. Why did she obey it if it came from EOCO in the first place? And why is he now unwilling to continue to obey it?
Which I understand, and I wish we had time to look at all these things. But you see, when a person is under siege like that, she originally does not want to be seen to be fighting more or less the state system, the security system, that kind of thing. But that is why sometimes you and I believe that whenever you come up against some of these things, call your lawyer. And it is not wrong for you to insist on the right thing being done. Now she's having to come back. You and I know about complicity. If the wrong processes are started and you go ahead, you've subjected yourself to it. So what you are saying is that she should have resisted it from the beginning. But look, the dynamic at that time was different.
Okay.
Which is why I applaud her for not trying to correct what she should have done from the beginning.
Thank you.
But we should know that law enforcement is not by itself
has his
another
documents
law.
spread in front of him.
We don't have time,
Yes.
but I'm
Go ahead.
happy I heard the lady say that there was no attempt to forcibly take
Remove
her out.
her.
So there was only a verbal intercourse. That's what happened.
Okay.
From day one, see, there are letters I'm reading through here. Who asked her to go on leave? EOCO requested the chairperson to ask her to proceed on leave. I'm not too sure that's interdiction, but you are the lawyers, you can explain the distinctions. And then she goes. But from July up to October, her counsel, that's her lawyer, was arguing with EOCO about the legality or constitutionality or otherwise of that decision. What stopped them from testing it in court?
Yeah.
They were cooperating with
He had written an earlier letter suggesting that
here.
because the matter has gone to an Article 146 process, she's not subject to this.
And EOCO said what we are dealing with is not a removal process.
Okay.
So Article 146 does not apply. Then they quoted section 21 of Act 804. That's EOCO Act. That we are investigating lost monies, not even stolen. And the three of you, the Director of Finance and others are the suspects.
Okay.
I think they should have contested that thing. Now, if you don't contest, you are coerced.
Yes.
Okay? And then 7 months down the line, your lawyer writes to the chairperson of the commission that we have advising our client to resume work. You tell me, is that the good governance practice?
You are so right, but sometimes you are clear your client is not being treated according to the strict.
So challenge it.
No, you want to cooperate, hoping that they will fix it. And so
both ways work. No, and indeed, the exchanges also show that they had been informed that this report is been completed, the investigation is completed, a report sent to the AG. And it is when we receive the advice that we will say this whole matter is ended.
So if it is completed, what does EOCO got to do at the place again?
No,
has the matter now gone to the domain of the...
No, see, you can say that was superfluous.
Okay.
But the point is that the leave was still standing.
Okay.
The issue of... Yes, it's not exhausted. You want to challenge that. The courts are there. Look, we should be careful. That if we are going to vote for this approach, do you know the number of people who are suffering around or all these years who thought they were unfairly asked to go home? So all of them should start forming some squads and move into their offices and say, I'm back. I'm not ready for that.
So that's what Kofi Bentel is saying. If you think that you are being unfairly, unlawfully asked to go home, you don't go.
You don't go, you have the access to the office. It's like the GBC one we are talking about. So the realistic option is to go to court and challenge that order. That is what this whole constitution is about.
You resist, and the one who is insisting, let them also go to court and get an order.
It's possible, but if you don't get access, because you obviously won't get access, so you go to court.
Right.
Otherwise, it will amount to constitutional lawlessness.
No, it's lawlessness, it's not constitutional lawlessness.
Well, Chachichekata said this 1981, 84, and I agree with him. It's constitutional lawlessness.
Okay, thank you very much. You've been listening and watching Newsfile. This is your most authoritative news analysis show. My guests have been Abdul Malik Kubako, editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper, Kofi Bentil, he's a lawyer and is vice president of Imani Africa. Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa is the honorable MP for North Tong in ranking member, Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, and also Emmanuel Sinyet Asigri is CEO of the National Youth Authority and former DCE of Garu Timpani. I'm Samson Ladi Ayenini. Have a good afternoon.